True crime fans, this one's for you. Hulu's brand new docuseries, Friends Like These, The Murder of Skylar Neese, is coming soon. And joining me now are former FBI agent Rob Ambrosini and director Clair Titley. Good morning. How are you both?
Good, thank you.
Good, thanks.
This is a really fascinating case in some of the research I was doing, but for people that are watching and are unfamiliar, can you provide a little bit of insight into what exactly this case is?
This is the case of Skylar Neese, who she was a 16-year-old who disappeared from her home in Morgantown, West Virginia in 2012. But I mean, for me, it's really a series about the kind of intensity of kind of teenage friendships and how devastating it can be, I think, when those friendships start to break down.
You know, it's interesting you say teenage friendships because I know that social media had a really big impact on this. And as a society, we're seeing how much social media can really amplify situations like this. The current case with Nancy Guthrie, I think, is a great example. So how true was that for this with Skylar Neese as well?
I think it was, immensely true. This was an era, 2012, that was quite unique, like kind of quite a unique era, moment in time when this is the first generation to kind of like really experiment with social media. And they were putting their entire lives out there. There was no precedent for them. There was no kind of hindsight that we have now. And at the same time, they were putting everything out there. The adults in their world really had no idea that this kind of existed. And it was, so you had all this, these feelings, these emotions, this evidence almost that was out there, but it was kind of hiding in plain sight. So things could escalate very, very, very quickly. And while they were there for all of that generation to see, the adults around them were relatively blind to it for quite a long time.
Yeah. Rob, I'm curious with you, within your investigative work and with just kind of what you've done in your career, how has the rise of the digital age impacted what you do? Because even now, we see with like TikTok specifically, people think they're investigators online and they throw out their conspiracies, which is, I think, really throws everything in a tailspin. So how has that affected what you all do?
Well, just looking at this case in particular, as Clara was mentioning, right, this is kind of the dawn of the social media age where you have these younger folks kind of, describing their whole life as a digital diary. They're just kind of pouring out. And sometimes you don't have the benefit of the fully developed frontal lobe, as it were, right, where you can filter some of these things. What should I put out there? What shouldn't I put out there, right? Fast forward to today, now we have a digital age where we have so many more applications. And unfortunately, there's a lot of opportunity for people who want to cause harm to younger individuals to now prey upon them on social media. And specifically, I'm talking about like nihilistic violent offenders, sadistic violent offenders, 764 groups, Harm Nation, places like that really try to encourage younger folks to engage in self-harm and send child pornographic pictures. So there is a big risk out there now, out there in the digital landscape. And, there's a lot of, offices, every field office in the FBI has task forces that are kind of working on that. But yeah, it's changed the way that we do cases.
I'm curious with that too. Do you feel there's any way in which maybe the social media of it all has positively impacted what you all do? Because I do feel like, in some ways there is good to it potentially.
Oh, no, sure. I think there's always kind of like this duality of it, right?
Yeah.
You have a lot more connection. People can support each other digitally. We saw that through, of course, through COVID. People can, if they want to send in tips, they can kind of capture what they're seeing online and helping us. So yeah, I think it's responsible use, right? It's like anything, right? You want to use this tool that has emerged out there in a very responsible way. And I think we're still kind of growing through that and evolving with that.
Yeah, you both have very different kind of perspectives or lenses on this case. What's something that maybe has shocked the both of you?
I'm shocked. I think I was quite shocked. I think not having had social media myself when I was 16, I think I was quite shocked at how much people were using it. I think it's an age that I wasn't kind of connected with, that's available. And so I was shocked at how much people were putting out online. They weren't just putting out how they felt that day. They were putting out how much they felt that second, that minute, whatever it was. Literally, it was like verbal vomit, the amount that they were, putting out. And like diaries, I think they were almost like diaries. And because they didn't have this awareness, this hindsight of the fact that it was out there forever, they behaved on social media in a very, very different way to the way in which 16-year-olds today behave on social media. And that was something I think when I first started digging into it all kind of shocked me quite a bit.
Yeah, Rob, what would you say?
I think just from working on the case, ultimately when we found out the truth, it was really kind of taking a step back. And at the time, of course, I have 3 boys. My wife and I have 3 boys, and you're taking a step back and like, my goodness, this crime is horrific that these teens had done, and the thought that went into it, right? And why would they make this decision, and not go for other options? If you don't want to be a friend with someone, just stop being friends with them. And I think that always stayed with me, and it still has to this day.
Yeah, there's a relatability piece there, right? It's like we apply these cases to what we know, which is kind of daunting in some ways. Now, in closing here, you all, in what ways do you hope that viewers are impacted by this docuseries?
I hope that people come away from this kind of reflecting on their own kind of social media use. I think kind of like on what their kids are doing. I hope that they kind of also remember what it's like to be that age, and how your brain is incredibly different, and the lens which you see the world is very different indeed. But I also hope that they come away feeling like they know Skylar. She would have turned 30 just a couple of weeks ago, and so that's kind of quite a poignant milestone, I think. And I hope that through the way in which we've constructed and made this series, I hope that people feel that they know who she was and they remember her as she was.
Okay, well, I think that's a great way to close this. Thank you all both so much for your insight. Friends Like These, The Murder of Skylar Neese, coming to Hulu on March 6th. Thank you both.